I wouldn't say it's COVID-19. It is going to 20 and 21 and 22. That is how I see it. So there's nothing called post-COVID for me. It has its effect this year and the next year at least, and let's see how it goes. But what has changed? I think quite a few things in our life has changed, and I will restrict myself to pharma industry. I think after the initial hiccup of the first 4 months or 5 months of how do we get back on our feet for the pharma industry, I'm not talking of ACG, because somehow or the other we were lucky and agile to be up and running from day one. So if you look at the COVID as an illness, as a disease, as a virus, I think it's so obvious that pharma is only going to go up, whether it is in the vaccines area or whether it is in the treatment area in terms of the medicines and other therapeutics that go along with it. And the third thing is the nutraceuticals. Yeah? So in the post-COVID era, I think one of the most important things that I have seen from the business side, and I'm sure Ranjiv will add more, from the business side, what I have seen is people's awareness and conscious on the health and the well-being is much, much more than what it used to be. The recent example in the last 4 days of people thronging the vaccination sites for getting vaccinated is an example where people are completely clear that, come what may, whatever be the kind of vaccine, people were talking, saying that Bharat Serum is not yet come with the phase 3 trials, all that. But people are not making any differentiation there. So I only see I see some of these things are going to stay here in terms of business. For pharma, it's a good period, which was always a good period according to me, and it's only going to keep continuing. Some of the things which have changed for pharma is in terms of pharma or everybody else is also the way we work. Work from home is here to stay. It's not going to go away. Like for my example, at least for me, we have said that we will work up to March 22 from home. We are not saying we are going to go back after the vaccination. We are saying sorry. So work from home is a reality, and we will work around it. It will have huge changes in terms of people, in terms of the infrastructural needs at home, as well as what's happening to the office. As we go along, I don't need to answer everything in one question, but a lot of things which have moved for people in terms of processes, also for sales and marketing. For a company like ours, where we used to spend nothing less than 8 to 10 crore as a budget on travel. Last year, our spend was hardly 70 to 80 lakhs. And what has changed for us is for the known customer base, there is no travel allowed. There is just no travel allowed. So only travel that we are allowing, since we are also engineering company, is for installation and commissioning. And even there, technology started playing a role by using virtual world and AI to see whether we can install machines and commission machines and repair machines through the technology, and we don't need to go physically. So these are some of the changes that are happening at the business front. At the work level front, as an associate, as an employee, I think one of the things that the organizations are now looking at, and it will stay. Since Prashant, you asked a loaded question, so I'm trying to cover all the parts of the question. So my answer may be a little more expanded.
Absolutely.
So bear with
Absolutely.
me.
Please go ahead.
So bear with me. In terms of insurance and health and wellness, both. Like we are one organization, and there are many more who have covered people for COVID particularly. We have covered our people also for COVID separately by an insurance policy. Similarly, for the work from home has created certain stress at home itself. According to me, now people have realized that we are working more at home than we were working in the office. That's a reality. We are moving from one meeting to the other. We hardly have breathing time. So there's a lot of stress. And similarly, people at home are equally stressed out by you being at home on a lighter side. But the fact is that, we need to look at the mental health and wellness of an associate, of an employee, as well as the engagement levels, because there's a huge challenge for the engagement levels to be there. For people who have been in the business, who understand, who know their people, their bosses, their subordinate, it's a little difficult. But for an organization like us and many others who are recruiting, and they will recruit, I am saying what's happening is it's a challenge for the newcomers to get in touch with the touch and feel and culture of an organization. And it's a huge challenge. And I think HR as a function also needs to look at how do you find ways and means to engage your employees in a more meaningful, engaged, focused way rather than leave them in the lurch. So these are some of my initial thoughts, and we can always build over each other along with the participants as we go along.
Thank you very much for your inputs. Ranjiv, I would request your thoughts on the COVID, during and post-COVID.
Mr. Sunil has covered everything, but still, I would just like to add. No, that's very good, sir.
I'm sure you will have your own.
No, in a very nice and a summarized way, you have covered everything. I would just like to add 2-3 things more to that. As he was telling that post-COVID, what has happened, one thing is, which is going to happen in future, is digitalization, work from home culture, artificial intelligence, MI, they are really going to play a vital role, because the interaction with the clients, now when I say pharma, especially frontline doctors, the doctors and hospitals are not allowing you to meet, or they are not comfortable in meeting you, and going forward this will take a long time. So that is one part. So you need to come out with something where you can communicate to these doctors rather than relation through some scientific tools or methods. Second is when it comes to disease, yes, pharma is growing, will grow and will continue to grow. Well, till the time human life is there, you will have some one or other disease. But the disease profile is changing. As Sunil sir was telling, that a lot of people now are becoming cautious, hygienic. So basic those diseases which were normal common disease like waterborne disease or mosquito or all this dirt and all those things, they are coming down. However, as he said, stress is going up, lifestyle is changing, that is creating more stress, so lifestyle diseases, chronic diseases are now increasing. So they are on the spot. Now it is still $1 million question, because with work from home, people get time to do exercise and all. Suddenly you would have noticed in the roads, a lot of cycles have started moving today. A lot of people have started doing cycling and all. So for pharma, that will be one thing which has to be seen, that which way the industry will go. Will it be acute therapy or will it be going towards chronic therapy? So that is one thing has to be seen in coming times. Rest, as we progress, we'll try to cover up other things also.
Thank you very much, Ranjiv. Thanks a lot. So building on what you said, Ranjiv, do you think these changes that you're seeing in pharma industry will create more jobs for people, for youngsters, for students in pharma industry?
Yeah. To answer you, Prashant, yes, they are going to create more and more jobs. Only thing is, if we divide the pharma industry, one is those frontline that is at sales level. Sales level job may get reduced in coming days because as the interaction will move towards digitalization, then meeting in person may get reduced. However, as we move forward, it will be very difficult to make sure that the client is with you, that is the doctor is with you. Why would he shift? Because there is a huge competition. So you need to be creative. You need to have some innovations. Digitalization will be, I can say that just wait for next 5 years. Artificial intelligence and digitalization will play a role everywhere, including surgeries. Robotic surgeries and all your thing. Apart from that, as we have launched this vaccine made in India, Bharat Serum, which again is India is launching a product of its own, first time in the world. So the confidence of the entire world on India will go up. And if I'm not wrong, recently in 2 days, the news going on is the entire world, even the WHO said that our vaccine is the best, and Bharat Serum, whatever the feedback has come, it is giving now 81% results. So this will increase the R&D spend. More and more companies will be interested in going for R&D and investing. The government will also encourage this. Apart from this, China, which is the sole supplier, or I would say controls 80% of the API market, that logistic is going to break, and India once upon a time was the top or the main API supplier. Then China took over it. We are going to go back to that. So overall, all these things, so whether it is distribution, whether it is supply chain, whether it is R&D, whether it is marketing, whether it is sales, innovation, IT, the jobs are going to go much, much more. There will be ample job opportunities in pharma. Only thing is the skills requirement will be slightly better.
Sunil, what is your thought and opinion?
You know, I completely
Jobs
compliment
going up
what
or
compliment what Ranjiv said. That the reality is that jobs will only going to increase, and I don't want to reiterate and repeat what he said, but something which if I have to add something more to it, I think if there are in the audience people who are looking at making their career in pharma or making career movement upwards, then one needs to look at reskilling and relearning the skill set. Yeah? And from the HR hat, if I have to talk, a service engineer, for an example, was earlier going. And if you look at an Indian style of a service, Indian quality of a service engineer, he will be very good at knowing his machine and his parts and his problems. But when he goes out in the market, say US or say Europe or Brazil, wherever, even if there is a little less on communication, he manages with his competency because he knows his machines. It changes because when I am saying, sorry, come to me on a virtual world in a 3D printing methodology that I will take you through, and I'm showing you your machine. And when you are having a communication, I'm taking you the basic principle of a communication with a guy in US. You need to understand his diction, you need to understand his style, you need to understand his behavior, you need to understand his words that he uses and the words that you use, right? And that will change. So to start with, from a basic competency, then you take it up to say whether you look at an AI. Now in pharma, if one place where AI is being looked at as of now is the supply chain. Okay, supply chain is using both the AI and the blockchain methodology to maximize its efficiencies in this world, because they are also, while the pharma may boom, but it will also have cost pressures on the product in terms of the values and price. Volumes may go up, but price is at a pressure. So I'm seeing the new age skills of digital space, whether it is AI, whether it is machine learning, whether it is 3D printing, whether it is, you name it, and people need to be much more agile, empowered, and be ready to look at something else. I would say the gig economy, which is to say that if you look at my learning and development now, one has gone over from a classroom to the software, right? You're going on the systems now. Now, the life has not only changed for people inside, but from people outside, people who are servicing the client system of pharma will also need to change. So you need to see how much are you going to be agile and reskill and retrain yourself with the new world. It's no longer, earlier digital was using mails and video conferencing for a general public, which is not so today. It has gone deeper into the system, and we need to be agile and very aware of these new skills. Otherwise, people will be in trouble in getting the new jobs. That's the only thing I wanted to add.
This is wonderful. I think what I'm hearing from Sunil and Ranjiv is that the industry is going to go through a major transformation. And historically, the sales force was perhaps the biggest component of the workforce in pharma. And while that might shrink, but due to intelligent and digital selling to doctors, etc., but there will be various jobs that will come up in terms of R&D, in terms of creating those digital channels and continuously pushing digital content to the doctors. So there is a serious need of reskilling, and those who are still studying, there's a serious need to upskill themselves while they're studying in the areas of research, in the areas of technology, more than the areas of sales. One big shift that I'm hearing is shift from relationship-based selling to content-based selling, which will be a pleasant surprise for the industry as well as for the patients. This is perhaps a big positive that will happen because of COVID. And do you see the compensation increasing or decreasing in pharma industry, Sunil?
It's a very obvious question and an obvious answer. See, people as an organization have used last year, according to me, and maybe I would not like to use the word use, but were very pragmatic in not giving increments, holding on to the bonuses, because we didn't know the world out there, how is it going to shape up in the next year or going next 3 years. And everybody tightened their belt. And associates and employees, I call them associates, unfortunately, because we don't call them employees in my organization. So it's a practice that I have. So when I say associates, I mean employees. Associates worried about holding a job first. But if you see the trend, whether you read Aon, whether you read Mercer, just in 6 months, people started turning around saying, okay, we'll give you only this much increment. I will give you only 50% bonuses. And slowly it has turned around. And if you look today at the market, in the last year, I have taken an intake of new recruits at 407 people, I remember. And I haven't I didn't have any advantage of lesser salary. I'm paying market and more. And my budget that I have taken for the increment is 8% at an average for a farmer. Now, I am a pharma engineering put together, so I have taken an 8% average. And my organization also works on a 30% bonus, variable bonus. So 8% is a big number. And I don't see the market or the pharma industry reducing salary. It's only going to increase. See, it's like you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. You will have to pay good to get good stuff, yeah. And skills is at a premium. Even today, the talent war has not disappeared just because there is a corona. So I see good talent being paid well, and in the name of optimization, the bad talent will disappear. There will be an optimization. There will be a cutting down on talents which are not required in this post-corona period. But generally, by and large, if you want to ask me a simple thing, will it increase? 100% it will increase. No two ways about it.
So there's a question from Shabni Banerjee as to what are the specific changes in digitalization that one would see in pharma industry and the feeder industry as we go forward.
Yeah, I'll give it to Ranjive first, because I let pharma industry expert talk about it.
Thank you so much. See, I will stick to one side. Rather than feeder, I will stick to pharma. And I'll just talk to them the basic. For pharma industry, the end point which decides everything is doctor. This is the only industry where you do not sell directly to the consumer. It's an indirect sale. The biggest challenge today, or up till now, the sales and everything used to happen because of the relation of a person. That is why you will find in various places across the country, various headquarters, various companies are giving different businesses. Maybe in a territory, a number one company of India may be at number 10 because a very small company guy is having very good relation with the doctors. Now, that relation was because of his visit, activities and all those things, which needed a physical touch. Physical touch at many times at various points. The biggest challenge now for the pharma industry, now on the top of it, you know that WTO or patent has been implemented. The most affected industry is pharma industry. So today in India, we do not sell research molecule. All Indian companies or whatever we sell molecules which go out of patent. That's why I was telling that COVID vaccine was the first one. So now the question will be how to convert that doctor, how to make the doctor interested in your product through and what is that digitalization you will do through which you will be able to contact is the most important role which pharma industry has to think of. And that is where the bug will stop. Because all other things will happen. But doctor business, why would he select your product? That too through that approach instead of human has to be through digital now. So that is the main thing. Coming to the auxiliaries, I would request Sunil sir to please add on that.
Let me answer this question, expand this answer a little more. And I'm assuming that the person who asked this question also has a digital background and curiosity to say what about digitization? What is going to be digitized? digitized? And I'm trying to answer that from that lens. I would not use the word only digitization. I will also use the word automation and digitization. There are two parts and two wheels to this digitization process. And when I'm saying automation, see, the pharma industry has always been with the kind of competition that it is in as a business. I don't want to talk about sales as a vehicle, but as a business, it's always under price pressure, always. With the kind of industry we are in and the kind of plethora of pharma businesses that we have, including the contract manufacturing, we have a dime a dozen companies which have to look at their cost. So I'm saying, and I'm also coming out of my own experience of automation. We are looking at automizing anything that has a human interface. The pharma industry per se has done it earlier because it's drug, they can't afford it. But in many other ancillary pharma industries or suppliers to it, people are going to look at their cost, and all those industries will be under pressure for automation. Now, just remove the automation part, then you go into a digitization. I think we as industry, including pharma, will look at digitization. And when I'm saying digitization, today one is looking at manufacturing of drugs. Tomorrow, people will look at how do I connect my machines and the product to the digital world of analysis by IIoT in a way that I'm able to look at consumption patterns of my patients. Can I customize the dosage? Can I look at the downtimes? Can I look at the changeover times of the machines? Can I look at the proliferation of medicines? Can I have a track and trace which tells me which medicine has been prepared by which operator? Yeah. Can I predict all these variables that is there in the market in a way that the world is moving, according to me, towards a customized medicine? There will be a time when me and Prashant, if we have diabetes, but our body mass and weight are different, I may be given metformin differently. While in West, they talk about pharmacies, but the world is coming to an automated pharmacy where people will say, okay, if you want this, you get this. So the pharma industry will go through a huge process of digitization on that front. And the second, as I said earlier, I think the supply chain, because the biggest vehicle is the supply chain, we don't realize it, and the packaging industry. There are two industries which will go through a huge digitization in a big way, and a lot to unfold in that space, I would say. Pharma, unfortunately, if you really look at the tech spend, I was watching something on the Boston Consulting presentation the other day. The biggest spend on technology is not pharma, but it is in power sector and energy sector. And it was a surprise for me too. Like whether it is a British Gas or a Bharat Petroleum, those are the companies which are spending huge on technology. And as pharma, we have been laggards in technology for many other things. I think this has given a fill up for people to look at technology. Let me not expand it further. I think with my limited knowledge of technology, this is what I can predict going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Thanks a lot. This was quite interesting. And I think now we have a very interesting and a bit challenging question from Ayushi Agrawal. What we know is usually the R&D of a drug takes around 10 years or so for a drug to be marked effective and efficient to be consumed by the patient. With the onset of COVID vaccine, we have seen the pharmaceutical industry was able to bring forth an 81% effectiveness in just 1 year time. How will this shape the R&D of pharma industry going forward?
Ranjiv, all yours.
Yeah, a very interesting question. In fact, I was reading that question only. Her name is Ayushi, I believe.
Yeah.
Ayushi. Very nice question. See, when this vaccine has come, Ayushi, and this is, of course, for all, keep one thing in mind. Everything was on accelerated stability, accelerated studies, all things were done because there was an epidemic and there was a time constraint. Normal circumstances, this vaccine itself, to reach this stage, would have taken more than 4-5 years. Because we are dealing with human body and you cannot take decisions on a haste. So going forward, you cannot take this vaccine as an example for speedy approvals until unless it is always done. If you would have heard Dr. Guleria, so these questions were going on because when the approval of Bharat Biotech was there, so whenever you take such decisions, you have to keep 2 points in mind: benefit versus issues. So this speedy approvals, don't expect that in 1 year you'll be able to generate or come out with a molecule so fast. A molecule will take its own time. Going forward, yes, internationally R&D will not make any difference. The difference will be in India. Indian R&D, yes, we will be more motivated and we will try to have or go for more innovation and R&D spends. That is what I feel. I may be wrong. I can't say that.
Let me add, I think this vaccination as an example is a wrong example according to me. We have turned around in a pandemic situation, not even an epidemic, it's a pandemic situation, where the whole humanity was at stake. One human body organization which worked wonders, whether people like it or not, is WHO. One of the pivot was the WHO for collaborating. So if I can see in my little experience of pharma, there hasn't been a better collaboration and exchange of ideas and thoughts than in this situation of pandemic on vaccination. Everybody was sharing everything. While maybe not at the complete granular level, but everybody was fighting with the back to the wall. And even today, when you are talking about distribution, it is like I got a WhatsApp picture yesterday of an Indian friend in Ghana getting vaccinated by Indian vaccination. And I said, you are lucky, you have less population, we are still waiting here. Yeah. So the speed of vaccination may not be able to, because it will come back to the old world saying it's my molecule versus your molecule. And molecules take enough time to reach at that place. Even a simple drug to get through an ANDA process in the regulatory world takes huge time. And I don't see that completely going for a toss and we'll now be in a different world where we will have 1 year and 2 years for molecules to come in. I doubt, if you look at it, while vaccination we have worked, and adjunct therapy for corona, which is whether it's a remdesivir, whether it is a dolo, whether it is some other medicine that they have started giving, is there. But a proper researched tablet or a capsule has not yet come in the market. It's the second year going. And I'm sure it will take another year or two for people to come in, for all that you know. So it will take its own time, though technology, digitization will also suppress or reduce that timing, but it will not go away for a toss and everything will start getting manufactured in 1.5 years. I don't think that reality is happening. That's my take, personal take.
That's really nice. Thank you, Rajiv, and thank you, Sunil, for your thoughts on this. And I completely agree that, it's a cost-benefit thing. During pandemic, what is required is quick action. But the process will not be diluted for rest of the medicine, so that will perhaps continue to go through the same process. And maybe there will be some new technology to shorten the process, but certainly it won't come down to 1 year. That's what we heard from both the speakers. Now, Sridhar wants to know what is the future of biotechnologists in India as well as Indian biotechnologists abroad. Because for ages, I think we have been hearing that biotechnology has a lot of scope and a lot of students studied biotechnology and most of them didn't get a job. They started computer programming.
See, all newer medicines today in the new era, if you take, let's say one example, cancer, or you take another example, rheumatoid arthritis, everywhere if you see, or diabetes, now the drugs from normal drugs are moving to targeted therapy. And in targeted therapy, either you are going for biologicals or for biosimilars. Now, biologicals, yes, that is the game changer across the world. So it is, if you see cancer today, if that was a 100 rupee market, biologicals have already taken 40 rupees share, and whatever growth is there because of biologicals. So biosimilars is the need of the hour for smaller countries. So biotechnologists will be required. They have got good scope because going forward, it is not tablets. For chronic and such disease, it will be biosimilars which are going to play a vital role, which have already started playing a vital role.
That's fantastic, Ranjeev. I think the worry of people is that while things are moving towards biotechnology undoubtedly globally, the Indian biotechnologists have not had jobs in India as well as internationally. Do you think, as you were saying, that with this Bharat vaccine molecule being accepted globally, do you think that will lead to jobs for biotechnologists, would biotechnologists have higher acceptance? Indian biotechnologists will have higher acceptance outside India if the work or the research work or the jobs don't move to India.
In my point of view, Prashant, it will be there. Like, for example, if you talk about us also, we deal in oncology. My earlier company was a pioneer of oncology molecules, generic in India. And we deal with this, what you call it, fertility. Now, all these, whatever drugs we were using, we need biosimilars. So in India, we are not able to make that. We are trying. One is Bharat Serum, one is Intas. There are companies. Companies have started moving into that. So with this COVID success, the company's investment on R&D should go up and should be backed up by the government. Because if you are able to, see, to sell in, there was a time we used to say to sell in Asia, you should produce in Asia. Now, if you produce something in India, that becomes the most economical product in the world. So, biotechnology research will be the future of pharma. India has to do research, and this has one thing. I remember Sunil sir talking about various technologies in controlling the, it was indirectly telling that even a small problem is there, it should be digitalized, and you should come to know where is a quality problem or where is the loss of batch fail or anything. So research will be the future, and we will require biotechnologists for that. In fact, we are struggling for last 7 years to come out one biosimilars. Still we are in process.
I have a question. Do you see, this whole COVID doing something to the pharma industry that Y2K did to the IT industry in India?
Can you come back, please? I could not hear you.
So, we had this Y2K problem in, as the year moved from 99 to 2000, and because of the disk space constant and server space constant as the cost of it, the year was coded as 2-digit in most of the programs across the world. And as we moved from 99 to 2000, it had to be changed to a 4-digit coding. And that was called Y2K problem. And Indian engineers by loads were sent all over the world to fix that problem. After they fixed that problem, the Indian engineers had a good reputation all over the country, all over the world. And then on, we've seen the acceptance of Indian software engineers, and 40 to 60% of the software workforce in any country are Indians. Now the question is that, this whole COVID and the Bharat vaccine and stuff around that, would that lead to a situation where Indian pharma industry, Indian pharma professionals, the whole digitalization that Indians have done during the COVID situation that both of you have been talking about, would all of that lead to a situation where the Indian pharma professionals will be hugely respected in the global pharma industry, and would that change the image and reputation of both India as a country and the Indian professionals?
So let me take this, Prashant. First
Sure.
of all, I have a differing view on this Y2K nonsense, which I call it. For the simple reason that Y2K was a hype created by the Western world. And if you really look at it, it went what I call it as it was just not what it meant to be. Yeah? Y2K did not change anything in my life. And we had 1 year of saying we are going to crash because of this Y2K if you don't do something. And not that we did not have a problem, but I'm saying, did it really do that? I have my doubts, and I have differing opinions of what you said that Y2K did this for the engineers. But let's come back to the reality of this world, which is the COVID. Please understand that there are geopolitical reasons to look at. The geopolitical reason, one, because of COVID, people realized that we can't lift our product from, or we can't keep all the eggs in one basket, and the basket was China. And that changed for the world altogether. As of now, the next best option looks to be India. And India has been late in responding to that. In between, there was enough and more country, including Bangladesh, Singapore, where people moved. And I'm saying this was without the label of pharma. Many more companies have moved out of China and are trying to move, including Korea. South Korea said, sorry, we will even give, or Japan, sorry, we will even give incentives for people coming out of China for their own companies. So that has changed. But something which has completely changed, and I should tell you the inside news from the Senate hearings of the US, where they were pissed off that every medicine that they wanted, including vaccine, they had to depend on India and China. And the Trump administration at that point of time said, how do we make a plan to bring back the pharma back to our own country? And each of the country today would like to remove their dependence, complete dependence on either India or China or anyone. Yeah. So it is moving. So you will see the Indian pharma industry are moving and opening up companies in the foreign locations as a subsidiary. They can't, it's no longer a situation where a Cipla will say, sorry, I will export it. Doesn't work. They want a local company in US. And they have bought over 2 companies there. We are trying to do something there. Many companies, GSK, everybody's trying to do something there. So that has an effect there. Yeah. At the same time, we will get the benefit of this China geopolitical problems and the push that the government is giving through the regulatory of the PLI, the Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I'm saying we as a market itself, we are so big, we are half the world in that sense. That itself gives a huge fill up to our own Indian consumers. So in that sense, I think we will surely grow and grow exponentially. Our stock in the world market in terms of respect, belief, and what we are doing has surely gone up, and it will go up. But it will be more and more local for the developed countries. They do not want to depend on anybody more than what they can. Is it a short-term measure? No, it's not. US is making a 5-year policy to see how they want companies to be in their own country and not anywhere else. So it's a mixed bag where we'll have to look at all the things together. That's where I am. Ranjiv, you want to add anything?
No, I fully agree to you. Only one point I just wanted to add, Prashant, is up till now, India was still the major
Exactly.
supplier.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be something like Y2K.
We're not doing that.
Okay, that's fantastic. Now there is a question from Amit Chakravarti. The effect of pandemic, we found that world has come closer as it was life-threatening for humanity. India did good job in handling pandemic so far. What opportunities it will open up for India in the R&D or manufacturing or logistics of pharma or the feeder industry to pharma?
I think we answered that earlier, if you really look at it, that manufacturing in any case, our Atmanirbhar Bharat also is giving huge fill up. And if you look at it, even this 0.4% growth in the GDP in the last quarter has been in the manufacturing space, led by manufacturing space. Yeah. And I think manufacturing surely is going to go places as we go along. I remember talking to Ranjiv earlier, and I agree with him that R&D space, again, is going to boom. People will get motivated to look after their own molecules, develop something new, innovate, create. I think so. There is enough and more space in terms of the boom that will happen in this space post-COVID. I'm sure that it will happen. That's a very short and straight answer. Ranjiv, you want to add anything?
Just to add to that, Prashant, one of the biggest challenges the world faced during COVID was cold chain. If you remember, Pfizer vaccine was to be stored at minus. Correct.
Absolutely.
India never had such problems.
Yeah.
So as the manufacturing goes up, these things will go up. And of the, not related to this, but I also wanted to add one thing. With the decision of GST, logistic, that means entire distribution is going to see a sea change over a period of time. It is going to develop and develop and develop.
That's really nice. That's really nice to know. And then there's Ayushi Agrawal again, who says that the regulations on import and local sale of medicines in India are somewhat weak, unlike countries like Europe and US, where the regulations are really stringent to make sure that people get only the legitimate drugs and there could be no counterfeits. Do you think we need to have some laws to secure the pharma in India as well against the counterfeits?
I will. I'll just like to know when she's saying counterfeits means what? Is it that the same brand has been copied, or is it that the generic brand? What is that she's telling? She's asking.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Hello. Thank you, Ranjiva and Sunil, for a lot of insights on this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vita. Yes.
So my question was more on the copied drugs, the second copies that we have in the Indian market. We see a lot of duplicate drugs. And since we do not have any sort of track and trace services or any sort of laws to sell the drugs into the Indian market as such, we do have some laws to export it out to other countries. So do you think that is something we need just because the healthcare is getting so fleeky these days? We cannot, take a chance to sell out those drugs anymore to the people when healthcare is getting so much spotlight.
That is what I wanted to know the exact question. See, okay, I'll put it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a molecule that goes out of patent, now an X molecule, I will not name the company, I will not name the product, an X molecule, 1 month, one therapy cost was 7 lakh rupees up till yesterday. It was a patented product. Today the product has gone out of patent. And Indian companies have got the capability to manufacture a generic version. And the cost has come down of the same product, same therapy, same number of tablets from 7 lakh rupees to 7,000. So first of all, we have to believe any company that is manufacturing in India is approved and gets a license from the DCGI or from the various regulatory authorities. And they will approve only when there is a particular level of quality which is being maintained. So that is why I asked you a very specific question.
Can I try to answer this? I understand the question. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you trying to talk about generic version, or are you trying to tell that Crocin is available and there is another brand of Crocin available in the market with a fake name?
Yes, she's saying that. Yes, she's saying that. That there is a Crocin with a CRO-CIN and there is a fake company producing CRO-SIN. What do you do?
Is that she's asking?
Are you seeing?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
That's exactly what she's asking.
But for that, the government laws are already there.
So there are for you. I'm assuming that you know something about track and trace and regulatory, and hence the question.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to me, most of the country in the Western world, some of them, quite a few of them, have already come with the regulatory requirement for pharma companies to put the track and trace system on their machines. Okay. And when I'm saying track and trace system, which means camera system, which will go on the operating machines, which is manufacturing either a tablet or a capsule or a vial, where it will be traced in terms of the content, in terms of the process, in terms of the packaging, in terms of the companies, in terms of the batch. Right?
Yep.
Now, so quite a few countries are doing it. India is also on the verge of declaring it for us. Okay. And many of our pharma companies in this country are exporting, so they don't have a way out of it. So we have a company called ACG Inspections, we manufacture camera systems and software to detect all these things and put it, help the pharma companies to put their labels in that sense, right? So what will happen is automatically the counterfeit will be out of the market. Because if you find a CRO SIN in the market with the QR, you are able to, or with an RFID tag, you are able to say, sorry, this is not the medicine. You can trace it back to the person who must have done this counterfeiting, and he can be behind bars.
Right.
And that's what is happening in many countries, and which includes India. In fact, Indian government is already working on some things in a very fast track. There is a committee, there is a governing body, and they are doing all that. So it will come in. There is no way out. The human life is important, and people can't. And I have personally seen, when I gave this example of CRO SIN, I went for a marriage somewhere in Indore or Raipur, and I saw this chemist selling this medicine, and I asked him. I said, "What the hell are you doing, man?" And he was a part of that marriage party where I had gone, and he said, "Sir, I'm sorry, but क्या है, इनके पास पैसा नहीं है पूरा cruising का strip लेने के लिए, so maybe 4 rupees or 10 rupees, whatever the cruising strip might be costing." So I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "No, there are 4 tablets which are placebo, and 2 is crocin, proper crocin." So I said, "Why do you do that?" He said, "ये गरीब लोग हैं सर, वो 2 crocin में ठीक हो जाता है." So can you believe? Can you believe? And these things happen, and I think government is coming out with that, and many governments have come with it. So it's a huge market. There are companies like us, which is ACG Inspection. There are many more companies, at least 6 or 7 of them across the world, which is in this business of track and trace.
Yep, I understand now. Thank you so much, sir. That answers my question.
Thank you.
So now I have a question that with all this digitalization and less focus on in-person doctor and sales meeting, etc., and as Sunil already said that work from home is here to stay, what are the changes that companies have to undertake to accommodate or incorporate permanent nature of work from home to ensure effectiveness and efficiency while making sure that people are still working from home?
See, there are, it's a double, sorry, Ranjiv, you want to answer this?
No, sir, you please.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged sword. One is, there was a time in life when people said, the moment you spoke about, especially in pharma company, work from home, they all said, "Are you mad?" And I remember having time when people said, "Acha, 2 days in a year. Acha, 3 din kar lo saal mein." During rainy season in Mumbai or something like that, or during natural calamity. Frankly speaking, thank God for Corona that they had no choice, but the owners and the shareholders had to decide that work from home is a reality. Now, when you do a work from home, as an organization, I think we, at least for me as an HR head, I will say that we worked on facilitating this work from home. It's not easy. So whether it is changing our policies, process, and some of the welfare schemes, we changed that. Whether it was handling them Wi-Fi allowance, whether we gave them a one-time setup allowance for people, whether we gave them some money for table, bench, chair, whatever they want to buy. We are giving, as of now, monthly reimbursement for Wi-Fi. And we are okay to say that you give me your home Wi-Fi internet bill and we will pay you up to this amount. Yeah. We have also worked on process and policies, which is to say that we said, okay, you don't need to, people had to get out of this physical attendance, thumb lagao, sign karo, all that thing has gone out of the wood and it has gone on the laptop and it has become mobile. We have covered them for medical. We have covered them for, and something which has changed is we managed to look at the engagement activities in the digital world. That has also changed and that will stay. Can we engage them digitally? I think we can. Short answer is we can. But the second part of the question, so these are some basic things that we have done. And people are happy. People are happy. I haven't got, like we did a survey to ask people whether you really want to come back to work. And the answer was 94% saying thank you very much. Can you make it work from home? Instead of that, can you make it work from anywhere? And my answer was, I can make it work from anywhere, provided you don't ask me conveyance expense to come from Goa and Timbuktu. You can come from wherever you want. I have no problems. Till the time you're available to work, I am okay to work from anywhere. So we are changing that this year to work from anywhere. But on the psychological aspect, please understand, we are all human beings who need to socialize. I have one of my subordinates telling me, sir, aane do ek din office mein, because we have a rule that if you have to come to office, you need to take my approval. And the guy says, sir, I want to come. I said, why? He said, sir, my social need. I need to talk to people. I need to see people. That's a reality. And will we be completely work from home? I don't see so. I am seeing over a period of time, we will have a balance of partly work from home and partly work from office. And that is the model that will come in. That will come in. It will settle down in coming times and very shortly, because of late, I'm seeing a little lull. But just before the corona in Bombay was at a low end in Maharashtra, I had enough people finding ways and means to say, sir, it is very urgent. I need to go to office. And we had to really stop it. Yeah. So I'm saying we will have to find ways and means, because social need is something which we need to look at. And what you are missing by not meeting in the office is all your side talks, all your coffee table, your coffee machine corners, where you met people, you asked something else, you looked at their well-being, you looked at some other idea, some other innovation, some other, you looked at their well-being in many, many ways, and that is lost. Today you are, if this meeting gets over, you get into another meeting. Then you get into another meeting. What's happening in their life? You are lost. So there will be a balance about it. There will be a balance about it. But these are the things that we have done, and I think many other organizations have done too.
So before we go to Ranjeev for his views, Sunil, I have a supplementary to it. Have you seen a significant increase on emotional health issues during COVID?
We all assume that there will be significant increase. As a good organization, we launched the Health and Wellness Being app, and a very, very holistic one. Numbers don't suggest that. Yeah. But in India, we as a country, we shy away from saying that I have a problem mentally. Anything which happens on the brain level, I think people are shy of it. So numbers don't suggest, but I believe that it is. Like at my home, giving my personal example, being authentic and transparent. My mother is old; she is around 80. But I think I have had quite a stressful relationship with my mother in the last 1 year, because I suddenly realized what are her needs, what are her demands, and it creates a stress on me working at home. Yeah, and not to cast any aspersion on the old age, but I'm saying, oh, I didn't know it. And it does cast an aspersion on my working style, and I need to be at office then. Okay. So is it a tension? Is it a stress? It is a stress. I'm sure the wives are happy that the husband should go out once in a while. They don't want their husbands to be all the time 365 days in the home on the lighter side, and vice versa. So does it create a stress? I think it does. I think it does. My data I don't have to suggest that it does create, but I believe that it does create. And for me, it's important that even if the numbers are minuscule, so be it. I will address that psychological stress. I will address that.
Nuja, can we have a 30-second commercial break? I have just one last question. What will be your advice to young professionals in pharma industry or students planning to join pharma industry?
I completely see as a sunrise industry, as reskilling, as relearning, looking at your digital space, looking at your technology space, looking at your gig economy, looking at working from anywhere. So these are some of the things that will be here to live and stay. And it's a sunrise industry in that sense. This is one industry. What I learned in the last 11 years in pharma is that wherever the economy goes, pharma is only going to go up, because we all, as humanity, we will fall sick, and we will, you know, if anybody has read, very early in my life, I read this book called I Woke Up. And his father tells him that, you know what, open in the first depression, economic depression, his father said, you know, remember that you should open two things, which is food shop or a shoe shop. You know, both these, whether there is a depression or no depression, people will eat and people will wear shoes. These are two industries to be in. I will add another one to say that pharma now, because people are going to need medicine, and that this industry is not a sunset industry. It's only a sunrise industry. So I'm saying, look forward to join here and do whatever is required to be in the pharma space.
Ranjiv, your final piece of advice.
Same. My 35 years of experience, I have never seen pharma industry going down. Whether there is a recession, whether there is any other problem, in India, international, this never goes down. So a very lucrative industry to join, but keep your skills updated. Keep yourself more developed. What Sunil sir was telling, I was go with that.
So, pharma industry, like once upon a time, British government, sun never sets. So that's the message. With that, I'll thank all of you to patiently listen to us, and I'll thank Ranjiv for sparing his time. He is always on the run, but we got him stick to his chair for 90 minutes and uninterrupted. That was thanks to Ranjiv, and thanks Sunil for taking out your time from your busy schedule and enlightening all of us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having us, Prashant.
Thank you very much. And
thank you, Ranjiv, because thanks.
Thank
nice
you,
meeting you, Ranjiv.
The same here, and a lot of things I also learned from you.
Thank you, sir. We all learn from each other.
Yeah.
We all learn from each other.
Thank you very much, all the
Thank you,
participants. And with that,
on behalf of you,
close the,
yeah.
sorry, Ranjiv,
To the
go ahead.
participants also, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.